They're just scratting, but a higher level.
Higher level scratter.
The more you're going to earn, the more taxes you're going to pay. Important to do at any stage. Is it working?
Who do you know that could like benefit from?
Oh, we both went to do a double whammy.
Oh, we both went in, didn't we? Joe Moorcroft,
Vicky Davis.
tell me about scaling up to and past six figures. This is something we've not done before.
No, we've not done this. I like doing this.
It's scary to some. There'll be people listening to this that are going, I don't want that.
No fucking way.
No.
And that's fine. Do you know what? Listen, because you will still learn something, even if you don't feel like it's applicable to you. But actually, there are those of you out there that are already operating at a significant turnover and you are past the 100K mark. So first of all, congratulations. It's no mean feat pushing past six figures. So what we wanted to discuss in this episode is, what do you do once you're at that stage? Because I think there's a lot of focus and emphasis, isn't there, on getting to that 100K mark. Mm-hmm. But then what needs to happen? So we talk about it a lot and going, the strategy needs to change once you're post that 100K bit, really. And it doesn't have to just be necessarily on the finances, but as your business starts to grow and kind of enter that scale mode, then the strategy has to change.
And also, we do talk about people bringing in a six-figure strategy before they're ready as well.
Yes.
So this is probably what you're outly seeing in the big organisations that do things really well. Mm-hmm. And you might be influenced by them and inspired by them, which is amazing. But also there's that disconnect because you're not quite there yet. Yeah. So what's the difference in that strategy?
Is the importance of having strategy. It's knowing what to implement at the right time for the stage of business that you're at.
Yeah.
So as a very quick recap, I suppose, anything that's kind of sub that 100K mark, you know, kind of aiming for that 50 to 100K, let's say, you are much better off in going all in, super niche, one, maybe two products max, and just rinse and repeat something that works on getting that sold. As soon as you start growing your audience and you start selling out of products and services and you start pushing past that 100K mark, that's when the strategy needs to change. Now, arguably, I would say that there are businesses out there that haven't followed that model and have still pushed past the 100K mark. However, they've done it in a way where they've now got a load of staff on. They're delivering a load of classes. So essentially, they're just scratting, but a higher level.
Higher level scratter. And I would say they're hemorrhaging money.
Yes.
Because we've spoken to several business owners in that kind of position, mm-hmm. where they have maybe a big training centre with lots of different services. So it could be, I think we spoke to somebody who was doing like 10 or 12 different services with all those staff underneath them and had zero money to take home for themselves.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
that is not the way to operate.
Yeah, just because, and I think it's this reminder that it's not always about the income. I mean, it is, but it's not always as it looks. Like, you could say that, oh yeah, you know, you've got several members of staff, you're turning over 100, 150K, 200K in some cases. But if that's not profitable and you're not taking anything as the business owner, and it still feels like a lot of hard work in terms of the graft is still there, and there's levels of graft.
Yeah.
Like, this is the extreme bit. Like, you're still close to that burnout bit that you're like, I just literally cannot do it anymore. Like, I'm working 1 million hours a week. All this staff, they're paid, I'm not paid, but the business is technically making money.
And I think this is where I think a lot of you out there would have this sort of similar aspirations to these kind of people we're thinking of when we're doing this episode, really, is big training barn, big venue, all these different all-in-one, like, you know, come to us and we'll give you everything you need for your dog. Sounds amazing, sounds great. It sounds like there's a good vision there, but the execution of that in the reality is that venue is usually costing an absolute fortune. Mm-hmm. The staff are usually costing an absolute fortune. Like you just said, it's scratting, but in a different way. It's almost like there's branches of scratting here, there and everywhere, rather than just one of you scratting. There's like lots of you scratting. And ultimately the business owner is losing because the people delivering the service are probably getting paid a decent wage actually. Yeah. And you're the one that's losing out. So it's like, okay, so it's great you've got that mission and that purpose. Like, I want that training centre. I want to offer all these services. But in reality, like, how are we executing that? And is it being marketed in a correct way? Like, are people seeing the value in that training centre and that all-in-one encompassing place that you've got? Like, how is it being perceived? And are the services you're offering really what people need as well?
Yeah. You know, on a tangent, I'd like to do an episode on why that is everybody's vision in dog training. I had a similar one. Like, I don't know, does it aesthetically look nice? And then you go, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Like, I haven't got to go around everywhere and come to me. Sorry, I know that's a tangent.
No, but I think it's worth exploring it, isn't it? Because I think it is a common thing for a lot of people, actually. They have that like dream. It's funny though, because one of our clients recently were talking about this and then went, actually, I don't think it is what I want. I think it's what I thought I wanted, but I don't actually. Because the reality of having a venue, the reality of the upkeep, especially if you own the venue rather than rent the venue, like there's lots and lots in that. Not completely undoable in any means, but I don't think it's fully thought through, therefore the lack of strategy.
Yeah.
And then we go, oh shit, we've got this big machine now that it's out of control and it's not being managed very well. I am hemorrhaging all this cash. Like, I don't want it anymore. And it's that kind of verge of going like, ooh, don't know what to do.
And now you've got next layers of, I want to say guilt, I suppose, because like you might have to let your staff go.
Yeah.
Or again, like the pressure it's putting on you at home if you're not bringing in an income, but you're working all these hours for nothing. But technically you've got a business that's turning over like 150, 200K, then why are you not bringing in any money? It's the question that we need to start asking ourselves. So when it comes to strategy, you do have to reassess as you start to grow, because naturally you're going to be targeting different people potentially. You need to consider your capability, your capacity. What type of business do you want to grow into? i.e., do you want to go down the staff route and have them deliver a service that you take a step back of and you run the business, so you do all the behind the scenes work? Or do you employ somebody to do the behind the scenes work, almost like a business consultant, because you can get them. They do the running of it and you do the delivery. Would be a lot of people's dreams, actually, wouldn't it? I still get the dog training, somebody else.
Give the admin to somebody else.
So that strategy has to be really thought through based on what you're trying to achieve. And again, I think this is where there are a lot of gaps in people's business plans, in that A is probably not a plan in the first place.
No.
And I'm not going to say fallen into it because it's hard work to get to that stage, but we've almost unintentionally got there. It wasn't an intentionally laid out plan. It wasn't something that we'd sat down and went, oh, this is what we want to achieve, aside from maybe just an idea. And then it's kind of grown around us. So when you are at this larger scale, your mindset has to massively adapt here, I feel. Because the first hurdle is pushing past that VAT threshold. Now, for a lot of people out there, I don't think, and I think this is a school failing, and I think this is a society failing again, but I don't think we're taught very good money skills anyway. But certainly when VAT comes into play, because it will, ultimately that cost needs to be factored into your pricing.
What's the fear around not factoring it in or avoiding the VAT threshold?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with I think it's this thought process that you're going to be paying more taxes.
Yeah, and you're not, because it's passed on.
I mean, you ultimately, you are.
You are and you aren't. Like,
yeah, like the more you grow, the more you're going to earn, the more taxes you're going to pay. But why is that a bad thing?
We pay VAT on lots of things. So
I
why are we
do think
scared
this
to
is like
pass it
an
on?
indoctrinated thought process. So as soon as I tell my dad that, oh, look, CBA's gone VAT registered, what was that, like 10 months old? He's like, oh, you'll be paying more tax now. I'm like, that's a good thing because it means my business is growing. It's not a bad thing. Oh, you'll be going over that 40% soon. Again, why is that a bad thing? You'll be paying more. Well, yeah, but I'll be earning more. So,
It's it is a real blocker, isn't it, for a lot
and
of
it's
people?
so ingrained into everything that everybody does that I was even having this conversation with our accountant the other day, actually, because a client of ours on the dog training side went, oh, could I give you cash so we don't pay the VAT?
Oh,
And I'm like, really? Do you want to give me like 1,500 cash so you don't have to pay the VAT? I was like, sorry, it's not how it works.
which, you could do that.
I was like,
There's an
no.
argument to say
Well,
there are
yeah.
organisations.
Oh, there will
that would.
definitely be people out there. Because ultimately, that's a risk for me to say no. Because they could go, well, I don't want to pay the elevated fee because it's a couple of £100 extra. I'm like, well, sorry, it is what it is.
It tends to be more trades, doesn't it?
It is.
Where that happens. We
Yeah.
sort of talked about trades before. Not that, it's another subject for another day, but it's commonly occurs there, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I think it's a wider society thing. And I'm sure it happens in other countries as well, where the tax issue is like, oh, how can we avoid it? Or what's the best way to just keep it under the radar?
Yeah.
Just basically just cap your earnings so that you don't go past it. So many businesses I know purposefully cap their earnings so they don't go over that VAT.
Yeah,
threshold.
and I think that's sad if you have got a really big vision and you've got a big calling almost. I feel like some people will just literally, restrict themselves so that they don't reach that. And I think that is quite a sad thing, isn't it? If you're in that position, you're like, I really want to, but I can't do because of that.
Yeah. I think as well, like going over, I genuinely believe it is fairly easy, and I don't say that lightly. And when I say fairly easy, I mean with guidance and a bit of graft. I think it's relatively straightforward to hit that 90k threshold for VAT. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily need to put a lot into it. You just got to be really good at sales and have a good offer.
Consistent and all
Like
that.
be good enough to do that, to hit that 90k. I think people struggle then with the idea that, because realistically, if you push past 90 and let's say you get to 110, 20, it almost doesn't warrant it like worthwhile for you to be VAT registered because the amount of tax you're paying, it
like
almost
you
negates
plateau.
it. Yeah. Like there's so much tax involved because you'll have your corporation tax as well as your VAT. You're almost paying out that much just to be slightly over it.
So you may as well smash
So
through it.
you've got to exactly that, like aim fucking high and smash through it at full speed. And I think this is where that planning needs to really come in and go, okay, so how are you going to do it? Because arguably we went VAT registered within 10 months. And we knew, well, there was not one part of us that went, we're not going to keep smashing.
But it was always a goal to do it within 12 months. And we did it.
Yeah. So you have to really push past it. So I think that's a big deterrent for a lot of people.
We're really lucky though that we've got a few clients that really want to strive for that six figures and beyond, which is really nice that people are seeing that we can take them through to there.
And you know what? I love it that it's possible for people. Like
Why shouldn't it be?
It's really, again, I don't say easy lightly because I know it's not, but not for the reasons that we think it isn't. It's mindset again.
But everything can be difficult depending on what you put in the way of it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It'd be hard to hit 30k if you put loads of things in the way. Yep. So shouldn't be any different. You're just stretching the goals a bit.
Yeah. Which is why I always come back to like money it's not the be all and end all. It's not the main driver of anything. It's literally just a figure. because that figure's going to mean something different to every single person out there.
Yeah.
But I think when you've comfortably pushed past that VAT bit, you're now into like the 150, 200K mark. Like, right, okay. What is happening within the business? That means we're bleeding money and I'm not taking home a wage.
Yeah. But is that reflection work happening? So, we did the episode in the pod classes for the new year, reflecting on everything for the goals last year, what the goals for this year. That's a really good exercise to do. So if you're listening to this and you want real tangible stuff to do, if this floats your boat and you're liking the sound of this, then those pod classes are great because we give you real, like, go away, do this work, and you will see a big difference. But that's a really good, that reflective work. Yeah. How many people don't do that reflective work? How can you know what you want to strive for this year if you don't look at what went well and what didn't go well for last year?
Yeah. That what went well and what didn't is so important. It's important to do at any stage, although arguably you can get away with not doing any tracking of data up to 6 figures, I'd say. You can get away with it. Because, again, if you've got a decent product, if you've got a decent offer and you're good at sales, it doesn't really matter where people are coming from because you'll end up being able to rinse and repeat it anyway. As soon as you start scaling, this is where the data bit is really important. You need to know where your customers are coming in from, off the back of what messaging, what conversations are you having with people? Do you have a sales tracker? Do you have a lead gen tracker? Are you tracking your conversion rates? Are you doing any ad spend? Do you know what your cost per client is? All of that stuff. Like, you need to know the data.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody tracks it enough. Not even the big company, because it's a lot. It's a big task to do. It's like a full-time job in itself, tracking the data. Because you've got to get accurate on those numbers. You need to know.
But this could be the make or break between whether it works or not.
Exactly. Like, even you and I have been having conversations recently. I'm going, do you know what? When we put out certain messaging, Instagram performs better than Facebook. So arguably, that's valid data. So why would we waste our time putting out that particular messaging on Facebook when it doesn't work?
It's almost like you'd be fighting against the natural wave, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can experiment with both and it works on both. But
that's it. It's like, it's doing that purposeful testing. It's like, which one works? And then the thing I find quite amusing in a sad way is that when something starts working, people stop doing it and they try and find something else.
Yeah.
Why? Double down on the thing that worked. Why do we suddenly think go and find a new shiny thing to spend your time with?
Because there's so many new shiny things to get distracted by, and there's so much noise to listen to.
I hear it a lot as well when people go, let's say they're investing in Google Ads, and then they go, oh, it's working. It's bringing me in the inquiries and I'm converting them. It's working. But I really don't want to be spending that money anymore. So what can I be doing to drop that ad spend? And my brain's going, is it working? Yeah. When we say it's working, what are the numbers again? So for every 5 leads you get, how many are you converting? Oh, well, at least 3 or 4. Brilliant. That's an epic conversion rate. And at what investment? And if you've got a decent product, let's say it's £1,000 one. Well, for your 300-400 quid a month, that brings you in 4K.
Yeah, sounds like a good ratio.
And you want to stop that?
I mean, there are things you could be doing in the background organically.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well,
like you need the double stuff. But again, it's like, well, if that's working really well, why don't you double down on it? If you want more, like, double the amount of ad spend, you'll get double the amount of leads. If your conversion rate is good because you've tracked the data and you can prove to yourself that out of every 5 inquiries you get in, you can confidently say that you convert 3 or 4 of them, double down.
It's scary for people to keep doing it though, isn't it?
But we stop doing it and we go like, oh, I'm not going to spend that money on Google Ads anymore. And then I'm going to build up the organic strategy. Which again, it's like, fine, have an organic strategy. It's absolutely necessary. But I wouldn't stop doing the other thing as well. I'd build up both. And again, if you're not, well, actually no, because this is aimed at people who are already at that 150K. So I would anticipate there would be an element of paid ad spend.
Yeah, because you got to that stage, you kind of need that greater awareness, don't you? And
Yeah, even if
reach.
you've just dabbled in it and you've done like odds and sods, like maybe to sell a certain workshop or something, there'll be an element of dabbling in paid ad spend. So I think the key factor once you're at this higher turnover is to go, what is the plan? Like, how are we going to achieve another year at 150, at 200? Are you tracking the numbers again? So some of the basic fundamentals of business shouldn't change. Like, you still need to know your numbers. Like we've said, you need to be doing better at tracking your actual data. But then also, do an assessment of your products and services.
Well, I was going to say, can we talk about services? Because like client retention is the easiest way to keep making recurring income. Like, is this like psychological, like reverse cycle? Like, it's just weird how we think that we need to keep finding new people constantly. I need to go here, I need to go there, I need to bring these people in here. What about all the people you've already got? What can you do for them? How can you make their lives better? Like, and this is where I would look at that big, let's go to that big training centre type scenario again. How many of those services are going to be completely unlinked together? Now, I'm not saying everything has got to be the same kinds of things. However, I feel like when we're looking at that as a strategy in itself, doing one thing and one thing really well works fantastically. So doing one thing really well and bringing another thing that links to that really well is a great strategy, and another thing and another thing. So if you look at CBA's services now, we started with one and we did that really well. And then we brought another one in and another one and another one. But pretty much everything links together. There's logical process.
They all do the same thing, essentially.
But the support is different, the accountability is different, the price points are different. But we didn't bring them all in at the same time, because if we'd have done that, we'd have been scattering all these things around that we weren't ready to do yet. So when you look at that, like, we've got all these people, we've got someone over here doing agility, we've got someone over there doing puppy classes. Would you ever take the puppy class people into agility? Is there like any logical process? Because for me, like when I started doing dog walking, I started training first on the side. I had a paid employment job, and then I started doing dog walking. All of my dog walking clients were dog training clients. I went to every single person that I could think of that I'd worked fairly recently and was like, who do you know that could like benefit from a dog walker? Oh my God, me, I could benefit from that. Oh, and I know someone who. So if it wasn't someone who'd worked with me, it was someone who they knew and they'd work with me. So that was my first logical like step to go like, how do I get people into that other service I've got? And pretty much it always crossed over. Dog walking clients went into training clients went into dog walking. So, okay, they're two separate services, but they worked really nicely alongside each other. And I would say when it comes to some of these big organisations, they've got all these services, they're so unrelated to each other. And there could be ways where those could be linked better, or like funneled through from one to another better, or just rejigged so that they literally just align, completely well together.
And I think this comes back to, because it's all very well and good saying, right, okay, let's just look at the services being offered, which ones are working really well, which ones aren't selling very well, which ones are making money. Do you know what I mean? Like gather the data. But then it's not even as easy a thing to say of going, well, just drop that then. Like, if that's like, you've now collected the data, that's not bringing in anything, or that is like losing you money. It's not as easy to say, just get rid of it. Because actually you need to go back and do some of that fundamental work again and go like, what's the purpose of the business?
Yeah.
And I think this is where these larger organizations just got a little bit lost, because we've grown unexpectedly. Like, we've not grown with purpose. We've grown with just sheer tenacity of just delivering the service, taking on a member of staff, and it's just kind of grown and grown and grown without us realising.
Or we're just doing course after course and bringing it in what we've learned from that
Yeah,
course
yeah,
into
just
the business.
adding it on, tacking it
but not
on,
really
doing this.
knowing if we really want to do that thing or not.
Yeah, and I think the purpose of having those mission and vision statements for your business will be your guiding light through it.
Yeah.
I would be encouraging you to check back in with the marketplace and do your SWOT analysis, because you need to identify what are the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats of your business. What's happening in the local area? What's happening in the wider area? Where are you taking? Are you solely an in-person delivery business? Are you online? What's going to be the right service model for your audience and for your business? Like, where do you want it to go?
And can I just say, when we're doing a SWOT analysis, you have to take your bias hat off, because it can be so easy to be like, oh, I'm better at this and that and the other. In fact, they're not as good as me in any respect. And I'm sorry, but there will be things that they're better at you at doing. And it might be for several reasons. It might be their marketing is better. It might be their clarity on everything is better. It might be the service is just shit hot. And they're putting their entire focus on that one thing. But we've got to be honest with ourselves, because there's no point doing a SWOT if you're just going to go like, yeah, I'm better than everyone in the area.
You should be able to walk away from doing your SWOT with an implementable plan on it. Because it could be that, like you said, a competitor is shit hot at sales and epic at the marketing, but you know the actual service is crap.
Yeah.
You may know that, and you could probably get evidence for it based on reviews, or if people are coming to you after they've been with that provider going, oh, wow, it wasn't really good and all that. Yeah. Then that's a strength in your core if people are staying with you for your service. But then you know it's a weakness and a threat and an opportunity for you to get better at sales and marketing. So you could put your focus on those areas. Mm-hmm. And this is where it's really important to go back and implement some of these fundamental bits of business, because as you grow and scale, you can lose sight of, you just overlook it, don't you? Because you just get busy in the day-to-day of like, shit, I'm just keeping my head afloat. So I would say for those of you who are growing and scaling with intention, i.e. you have a plan, you know exactly who you're targeting, you know exactly what services you want to be offering, look to start creating assets. You need to start building up a bank of assets that people are going to see your business as an expert, like build that credibility bit.
So when we say assets, what precisely are we
like our podcast
thinking here? Okay.
The book is an asset. The more you can create, like even a YouTube channel, if you are putting a lot of effort into that, then and that grows to an audience size that's really worth it, then that's a decent asset for a business.
So you're basically saying something that adds value to that business and potentially could get it to the point where it's saleable.
Yeah. Because these are the things that when you start creating assets for these higher level of business, like you're pushing into these multi-six figures now, you need to have elements of like multiple sources of income. It can't just be that one product anymore. That's where you start offering additional services. That should all align with one another. Yeah. So they're not that disconnected bit that you were talking about earlier. It has to be something that could take somebody through a journey. So if you look at the CBA model, you could be listening to the podcast as that first port of call. That's the freebie bit. You may then join the free Facebook community and hang out in there for a little bit. You may then buy the book or go into the pod classes.
Or consume the free training show.
Or even the free training show.
In the group.
Yeah. I always forget about how much free stuff we offer.
Yeah, I know. Tons.
So you could do the book or the pod classes, both low ticket investment. Then if you enjoy consuming that, you might then go into Business Basics, for example, that group online coaching program. You may go straight into Mastermind if you're a higher earner, if you're a a driven business owner and you're already at or pushing or desire to do the six figure business, you could go straight into mastermind. And then if you really want to excel at everything, you've got our one-to-one. So those are different products and services. They all do the same thing. The deliverability is different. The access to us is different. The support element is different, but they are all connected. They all supplement and support one another whilst being a standalone product in their own right as well.
So why didn't we go in with all of those products when we created CBA just over 12 months ago?
Good question. Audience size is a big one.
Yeah.
And this
We're
is where
teeny tiny then.
we were teeny tiny. And this is, I think this is the hard bit again. Like if you're already at that larger business size where you've got staff and the turnover is high, the likelihood of your thought process may be that you've got a big audience, and arguably you may have.
Mm-hmm.
It very much depends. It's a really difficult one to answer as a black and white thing, but you will have presumably a larger audience than somebody who's just starting out, or again, maybe just has that one product or service. But how engaged are they? Do they know what your brand is, or are they just dipping in and out of it? How have you positioned the company?
Are you trustworthy?
Yeah. Because again, like arguably, if it is, I'll use the typical vision of getting that training barn and putting 1 million classes on, basically. So you'll have a mixed bag of like what you probably adolescent, agility, hoopers, like all the stuff that would
Barn hunt,
suit,
flyball, whatever.
Yeah, that would suit a training barn. Then you may get the avid goers that are going to be your regulars. Again, if you're at a price point of 60 quid-ish per month, if you're on a membership model, you're still going to be at capacity for a class size, which is why you're going to need the staff. And then you're going to have to keep putting multiple classes on. Mm. But then what are you doing to supplement that income? Because that's a low ticket offer.
They're probably all low ticket offers.
And this is the problem. There isn't anything to supplement the income because it's all low ticket. And low ticket is absolutely fine. But if you're going to do low ticket, you need mass audience.
And let's look at the costs involved in the venue. Mm-hmm. Is it breaking even? Yeah. And that's probably what's happening with the cost of the venue, the cost of the staff. It probably just keeps afloat.
So do you know what? I think if you was to look at the absolute dogs model.
Oh, what? What are you saying?
Because
I love absolute dogs. I'm going to say it. I know there's not many people out there now that like it, but I think it's. I think it's brilliant.
I thought it was really good. That model, and you can see, can't you, when you really look into it, why we collectively, as an industry, and these people that are now in a similar situation to, we now got the barn, we've now got the classes. For argument's sake, let's say we copied AD or Devon Dogs or whichever one it was now. I think they kind of blended together a little bit, didn't they? They had people attending their classes, so like dog owners more than trainers would sign up to their classes, and I think it was like 65 quid a month or something, and you got access to 2 classes a month. Something like that anyway, or not too dissimilar. That's fine. But what else did they have going on? Well, you had a pro dog trainer, which was, what, 2K-ish?
Mm. Yeah, something like that, wasn't
So
it?
like a mid-range, higher price point than your 65. So already that's big supplementary income. Then once you'd done that, you could go into Geek. That was another grand, 2K, 3K, 4K, whatever it was. That was on top of. And that was a different audience to their pet owners who they're doing the 65 quid out. Yes, they were doing workshops and everything as well, but those are all the low ticket stuff. They had the high ticket supplementary to build that entire business, and they went mass. Like, they invested a lot of time, energy and money into roadshows, into marketing. They were everywhere.
And they also had their weekend stayovers where you could stay down
Yes.
there and you could do dog training all weekend, and that was a few grand
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you'd pay out for a weekend. And then they had the £35 a month. What was it called? Oh God!
Oh,
I
the
was in that
training
for
academy
years.
thing.
TA. I was in
Yeah.
that for years.
Yes.
So again, mass.
It was.
And
It was. Do
do you know why people find them so annoying? Because they were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, you either loved them or hated them a little bit, like Marmite, but they were literally every time you put Facebook on, they were on there.
Yep.
And that wasn't by accident. That was very, very intentional. Spent a lot on ads, targeted it to the right people, to all you dog trainers out there that ended up buying something from them. They did it absolutely perfectly. And so love them or hate them, this is what we talk about, different dog trainers and method, the old methodology arguments and all that sort of stuff. When you've got somebody who does something that well, I think we need to celebrate it.
Yeah, like take note and go, fucking fair play.
Yeah. All the people you find annoying, whether it's your Southend dog trainers, whether it's Yorkshire Canine Academy, they are out there smashing their marketing and they're getting that message. You know exactly what you're going to get from them.
Yeah.
So
You can't knock it.
I know this has kind of gone off in a bit of a, marketing tangent.
But it's about knowing who you are as a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And going, okay, what do we want to achieve? And the model that strategy was, like AD did not start off with all of those products and services.
No, they didn't. They started off them two going around all of these little venues. I saw them in Moseley and Birmingham in a little weird like church hall thing. Just getting the word out, getting awareness and building like their personal brand, which was massive. Their personal brand was pretty much everything, wasn't it?
So all they did was just went all in on one thing.
Yeah.
And then they rinsed and repeated. And then as it started to grow, it's like, oh, okay, we need to address the growth now. So we add in a service that's going to complement what we're trying to do. And then you add in another one. And then you add in another one. The problem by reaching this 100 plus mark with staff and everything by accident is that none of the services are necessarily going to align. Mm-mm. And I think this is where we think they do purely because it's a dog.
It involves dogs.
Yeah.
It's a loose link.
It is a loose link. It is a very loose link. But I genuinely think that's the thought process.
I think that is as well.
It's dog stuff. Come to me for all your dog
That's
needs.
what I used to think. On a lower scale, that's exactly how I used to think. But it's dog owners. They want everything. They don't.
No.
They don't want everything at all.
No.
They absolutely
really don't. So I think when you're at this higher bit, again, like you really bring it back down to your purpose, what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to target, what's your ideal client, what's the data that you're tracking, what services are operating well and which ones aren't. And actually, I think there's a lot to be said for if you know a certain service isn't doing as well, just fucking get rid of it. Like if you are in a position where you are hemorrhaging money, and these are like actual words and phrases that people have said to us, why are you keeping it?
Because we've got the attachment, not the owners. It's us. They don't care if you do it or not. They'll find someone else that does.
I promise you now, if, for example, like, let's say Business Basics suddenly started tanking and it didn't sell for the next 6 months, I'd be like, that needs to go.
Yeah.
That needs a revamp. Something needs sorting. It's not working. It's not right.
You need to listen to it, don't you? And look at what's going on. Are we not maybe it's us. We're not talking about it enough. Mm-hmm. We're not positioning it very well, or it's just not a great product.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so
get rid of it.
What's the outcome? But really look at the data. It's like, look, what are your customers saying? Like those that are on that service, what are they saying? Those that have done the service, what are they saying? So like you say, is it us? Is it our messaging? Are we just not very good at selling it? But then once people are in, it's epic. Okay, brilliant. That's a marketing problem. So we know where we need to focus. If the marketing's epic and we're getting loads of people coming in and then nobody's staying or they're dropping out or they're not completing it or whatever it is, we're like, okay, it's a product problem. If neither are working, we're like, just scrap it altogether.
Yeah.
But you don't know these things until you start consciously testing.
It gets to a point, I think, with these kind of classes of all different angles, right, that when you're struggling to even fill one, I saw something the other day and it was like, I've got one person, this is the bending over backwards thing, right? So I've got one person booked on for this class. Someone else said they were coming. Then they said their puppy wasn't going to be vaccinated. So I changed the date of it so they could come. And now they won't come because of something else. So I've only got one person. Basically, what do I do? And I think when you're in that situation and that's happening regularly, like, this is the point where we maybe need to make a decision on whether this is a shit service or whether, and that's brutal, or whether it's that we need to, like, yeah, again, is it a marketing issue? But like, don't be changing everything around to scrat around and get anyone you can, like one person. I remember running a puppy class with one person in it once. And it was unusual for me because I always managed to sell my classes, pretty much sell them out every single time I put one on. For some reason, this particular class, it just didn't sell. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the worst thing in the world. And even then, on one of those classes not selling, I was evaluating, do I carry on? Like what's happened there? And I think it turned out it was time of year. It was like dark, dreary January. The weather was a bit shit. There was snow and everything. And I think it was that because then it picked back up again and it was okay. But like even that point, I was like, oh my God, what have I done here? Like, is it me? Is it the people hating it? Like, I need to find this out. So if that hadn't changed, I'd have kept wanting to find out what's going on here. And I know that I would have done something about that. I'm not going to carry on running a course that's like losing me money because I'm paying out for a venue and there's one person coming along. Okay, they're having a great time because they're getting all of me, but it's not the way to be running that business, is it? And I bet with these big, training barn organisations, if you're in that situation and you've got several services running like that, and it may be because you're offering, let's look at it like you might be offering different times with the same classes. So we'll offer a morning time, we'll offer an evening, we'll do a weekend, but you haven't got enough people to fill them all. Mm-hmm. Is that really necessary?
Yeah, is it viable?
Do we just reduce it to one? Like how are you looking at that tracking that data again? It comes down to that.
And this is where you really have to look inwards and see it. And then I think on the flip side to that, so if you're not necessarily running a training barn and you're doing like one-to-one stuff and you've got staff members again delivering that one-to-one, like, okay, the overheads are a lot less because you're just outsourcing to your freelancing. And again, like that's a strategy in itself. Like, do you employ or do you use freelancers? Mm-hmm. How do you manage all of that? So it's being efficient with the business model, knowing when to employ, because I think people jump to employment too soon and then they get stuck. Like we said earlier, like if you just start to push that VAT threshold, you've got to really blast past it for it to be worthwhile, because then you're getting hammered with your corp tax as well. And then you've now employed someone. And now, like with labour involved, you've got a higher minimum wage you need to sort out.
Pension stuff, you've got everything.
So that's had a massive impact actually on a lot of businesses out there who have got employed staff because, well, you haven't increased your fees in God knows how long. And now all of a sudden you've got to pay your staff more.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, where am I going to get that from? Well, for starters, increase your fees.
But what tends to happen is people don't pay themselves at all because they need to pay their staff.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry. And yes, I know some people are going, well, of course, again, business coaches are going to say to increase your fees. Well, yes, everything else gets increased. My fuel goes up every single week when I go and get it. Am I suddenly going to stop buying it? No. My food bill is ridiculous. Bloody toddlers, I swear to God, they just eat me out of house and home. And the annoying thing is they don't even always eat it. They're like half eat it and then it's in the bin. Anyway. But all of that, like that cost of living is going up.
Yeah. Do you think Tesco's go, really sorry, everyone, but we're going to have to put the prices up? They just do it. I mean, I know it's a bit different from looking at Tesco's to us, but why should we be apologising
No, it's not.
it?
It's a business and you have to increase your fees and it shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. Like I said, we've touched upon this before, but the fact that the price points, I don't care what stage of business you're at, the price points the dog industry is charging, my favourite word, is still the same as it was 15 plus years ago.
Yeah, I'm in a couple of dog walking groups and I don't do obviously dog walking anymore, but the prices are the same as when I started dog walking. I was £12 for a group hour walk. That was in 2015. And people are still putting that out now or going, oh, that sounds a bit too much. But look at the fuel costs. Look at the repair costs for cars and vans, and treats have gone up, and
Just can't possibly.
everything has gone up.
You can't possibly stick at those prices. I mean, you and I went out the weekend and we were saying, do you remember when you used to be able to go out with £30 cash and that would get you pretty smashed
Yeah.
and a taxi home and some cheese and chips?
Oh my God, like him. I still had money for my bus fare or that kind of thing, isn't it?
Whereas now, fuck my life, I was looking at the bank the other day, like we'd spent 200 quid or something ridiculous. I like...
What was the round on Saturday night at that?
Oh God, for 2 drinks, it's easily 20 quid.
It was like 18 to 20 quid,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
You're easily looking at a tenner a drink.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, if I'm charging £30 for a dog session,
It just doesn't
I'm like, I
compute,
can't
does it?
even.
It doesn't compute.
Like, I can't even go out for a night out. Because if I only get like 5 clients, that's what, like 150 quid? What's that going to pay for?
Yeah, but this is where we're just stuck in the 90s, aren't we?
Gotcha.
We always say this about dog training.
Yeah.
The models are also stuck in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like everything is just how it used to be, and we're all just so scared to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why even if you are that person that has managed to push past and done really fucking well for yourself and got some staff and got a venue and do you know what I mean? Like that's no mean feat. But this is why we're now struggling. Because the model hasn't changed. Like what got you here is not going to get you to the next bit.
Actually, this is a bit of a challenge for anyone listening to this that's done it, that's kind of can resonate with what we're saying here. Like you're there, you've smashed that threshold, whether it's 100k over or whatever, and you've done it in such a way where it's not what we're describing. It's in a way whereby you knew exactly what you wanted to do. You've got the goals, you've measured everything, and you're doing really well and you're really profitable. Please, 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 will you reach out to us? Because we want to hear from people like
We'll get you on the episode.
Yeah, we'll get you on here because there just aren't many. From what we know and the research we do and the people we're hanging out with, like we don't see it very often. So we would absolutely love to celebrate someone like you. So please, please get in touch and let's show people that it can absolutely be done.
Yeah, it's so doable. But I think I would encourage you all, if you are at that level, start thinking asset creation. If you are thinking purposeful, if you are thinking you really want to achieve something, how can you get all of the knowledge that's in your head down onto something, even if it's, dare I say, like manuals and protocols, but it's something, it's still an asset that's going to help somebody run your business.
Yeah.
It's still going to benefit you more in the long run. If you're thinking about writing a book, write a book. If you want to do a podcast, do a podcast. If you want to do a YouTube channel, do a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and also all these things might sound out for each, but they are so accessible these days, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like
It's like a
writing a
YouTube
book.
channel for free.
Yeah. But even the podcast, okay, we use the agency, we kind of outsource everything, but you can do it yourself if you really want to, and you've got the ability to do it, or you know someone who can do it for you. Like, why not? Mm-hmm. If like now there's self-publishing, there's hybrid publishing, which is what we did. Like there's lots of options. It's not just, you don't have to pay Penguin like all your money to publish a book anymore. You can do it. You can do it yourself completely if you want to. So I feel like if you've got that in you, why not do it? Like be inspired, push past it.
Ooh. Can we do more episodes like this?
Yeah, I love this. It's good, isn't it?
Good. Yeah. Cool. On that note, we'll see you next week.